Hi friends, welcome to Whisper and Learn channel, where you practice English and learn important life lessons. Every video has a story to help you improve your listening skills. These stories are simple, clear, and perfect for beginners. Learning English doesn't have to be hard. With stories, it's fun and easy. Are you ready to listen, learn, and grow? Let's start the story together now.
It was a quiet neighborhood. People liked living there because it was peaceful. The houses were small, and the streets were lined with trees. Everyone knew their neighbors. They greeted each other in the mornings and shared smiles. The children played together after school, and the adults often chatted while tending their gardens. Life moved at a gentle pace, and everyone enjoyed the calm. Mr. Jones, an elderly man, lived in a small house on Maple Street. He liked to spend his evenings reading books or working in his garden. His roses were the pride of the neighborhood. His life was simple, and he enjoyed the quiet. Next door to Mr. Jones, a young man named Eric moved in. Eric was in his 20s. He had recently finished college and was excited to start a new chapter in his life. Moving to Maple Street was his first step toward independence. He loved the little house he rented. It was cozy and just the right size for him. Eric worked at a local advertising agency. His job was fast-paced and stressful, but he enjoyed the creativity it required. After long days at work, Eric would come home and relax. To him, there was no better way to unwind than by playing music. His favorite songs filled his evenings, helping him forget the challenges of the day. Eric's love for music had started when he was a teenager. He had a collection of speakers and audio equipment that he proudly set up in his new home. When he played music, the sound was rich and powerful. For Eric, his music was more than just entertainment. It was his escape. In the evenings, Eric often danced around his living room, lost in the rhythm of his favorite tunes. He didn't think much about how the sound might travel to the neighboring house. To Eric, the loud music felt energizing and freeing. One Friday night, Mr. Jones was reading in his living room. The soft glow of his lamp lit the pages of his book, and the rain gently tapped against the windows. It was a perfect evening for reading. Mr. Jones had just reached an exciting part of his novel when suddenly loud music began playing from Eric's house. The heavy bass made the windows vibrate slightly. The once calm atmosphere was now filled with pounding beats and thumping rhythms. Mr. Jones frowned and adjusted his glasses. He tried to focus on his book, but the music was too distracting. Every beat seemed to echo through his house. He set the book down and sighed. Looking at the clock, he noticed it was 10 p.m. "This is too much," Mr. Jones said to himself. "Doesn't he know how loud that is?" He decided to go to bed, hoping the noise would stop soon. But the music continued. Mr. Jones tossed and turned in his bed. He pulled the blanket over his head and even tried covering his ears with a pillow, but it didn't help. The music was relentless. The deep bass seemed to pulse through the walls, and Mr. Jones felt his frustration growing. Finally, at midnight, the music stopped. The sudden silence was almost startling. Exhausted, Mr. Jones sank into his pillow and fell asleep within minutes. His dreams were restless, filled with imaginary drum beats. The next morning, the sun shone brightly, and the neighborhood was peaceful again. Mr. Jones stepped outside to tend to his garden. As he clipped the roses, he heard a cheerful voice. "Good morning, Mr. Jones." It was Eric, washing his car in the driveway. He was humming to himself, his movements relaxed and happy. Mr. Jones paused, watching the young man. Eric looked so cheerful and friendly, completely unaware of the noise he had caused the night before. Mr. Jones opened his mouth to say something, but hesitated. He didn't want to seem rude or start a conflict. Maybe it was just one night, he thought, convincing himself to let it go. He returned to his garden, but the memory of the loud music lingered in his mind. "I hope it doesn't happen again," he muttered under his breath. But the same thing happened the next night, and the night after that. Each evening, Eric played loud music. The once peaceful neighborhood was now filled with booming sounds. Jones's house seemed to vibrate with the heavy bass, and the noise disrupted his routines. He couldn't enjoy his books or his gardening. He even stopped inviting friends over for tea, embarrassed by the constant noise. Mr. Jones became frustrated. The sleepless nights left him feeling tired and grumpy during the day. Even his beloved roses couldn't lift his spirits. He tried putting on headphones and listening to soothing music, but it didn't help. The pounding beats from next door drowned out everything. This can't go on, Mr. Jones thought. Finally, he decided to take action. He brushed off his gardening gloves and walked over to Eric's house. As he climbed the steps to the front door, he rehearsed what he wanted to say. "Stay calm," he told himself. "Be polite but firm." He knocked on the door, and within moments, Eric answered with a big smile. "Hi, Mr. Jones. How are you?" Eric said cheerfully. Mr. Jones took a deep breath. "Eric, I need to talk to you about something," he began, trying to keep his voice steady. "Your music is very loud at night. I can't sleep when it's that noisy." Eric's smile faded, and his eyes widened slightly. "Oh, I didn't realize it was bothering you," he said, looking genuinely surprised. "I'm sorry. I'll turn it down tonight." That evening, the music was softer. Mr. Jones was happy and thought the problem was solved. He enjoyed a peaceful night and woke up feeling rested for the first time in days. The chirping birds outside seemed brighter, and he even whistled while watering his roses. But a few nights later, the loud music returned. This time, it was even louder than before. The walls seemed to shake with the booming bass, and Mr. Jones felt his chest tighten with anger. Why didn't he listen to me? He thought, gripping his book tightly as the noise filled the house once more. Mr. Jones didn't want to argue, but he also couldn't ignore the problem anymore. The next day, he wrote Eric a letter. Mr. Jones took his time writing the letter, carefully choosing his words. He wanted to express his feelings without sounding angry. He explained how the noise was affecting his health and how he was losing sleep. He shared how much he valued the peacefulness of the neighborhood and how the loud music disrupted that calm. He also told Eric that he respected his right to enjoy music, but asked for a compromise. After finishing the letter, Mr. Jones slipped it into an envelope and placed it in Eric's mailbox. He felt a mix of relief and nervousness. He wondered how Eric would respond. That evening, Eric came home from work and found the letter. He opened it as he sat on his couch, still wearing his tie from the office. As he read the letter, Eric's face changed. At first, he looked surprised, then thoughtful. "I didn't think it was such a big deal," he said to himself. "But I see now how it's hurting Mr. Jones." Eric felt a pang of guilt. He hadn't meant to disturb anyone. He enjoyed his music and assumed others didn't mind. But now he realized he had been selfish. He decided he needed to make things right. The next day, Eric knocked on Mr. Jones's door. Mr. Jones opened it cautiously, unsure of what to expect. "Mr. Jones, I'm really sorry," Eric said, his tone sincere. "I didn't mean to upset you. I thought about what you said, and I have an idea." Mr. Jones's curiosity was piqued. "Please, come in," he said, stepping aside. He led Eric to the kitchen where they sat down together at the table. Eric looked a little nervous but determined to fix the situation. "I love music and it helps me relax," Eric began. "But I also want to be a good neighbor. What if I promise to turn the volume down by 9 p.m.? And if I'm having friends over, I'll let you know ahead of time." Mr. Jones thought about it. He could see that Eric was trying to be considerate. "That sounds fair," he said, nodding. "Thank you for understanding." Eric smiled, relieved. "Thank you for being patient with me," he said. "I'll make sure this doesn't happen again." From that day on, things improved. Eric kept his promise, and the loud music stopped after 9 p.m. On weekends, he made sure to let Mr. Jones know if he was planning a party. Mr. Jones appreciated Eric's efforts and began to enjoy the peace again. He even started reading his books outside, enjoying the sound of birds instead of booming music. One weekend, Eric invited Mr. Jones to a barbecue in his backyard. At first, Mr. Jones was hesitant. He wasn't used to socializing much. But Eric insisted. "Come on, Mr. Jones. It'll be fun," he said. Mr. Jones finally agreed. When the day arrived, he dressed in his best shirt and carefully picked fresh tomatoes from his garden as a gift for Eric. As he walked into Eric's backyard, he was greeted by warm smiles and the smell of delicious food grilling. Eric's friends introduced themselves politely, each making an effort to include Mr. Jones in their conversations. At first, Mr. Jones felt a little out of place. The laughter and energy of the younger group were different from his usual quiet evenings. But soon he began to relax. Eric's friends asked him about his roses, and he proudly shared tips on gardening. One friend even joked, "Maybe I should hire you to fix my garden, Mr. Jones." As the evening went on, Mr. Jones found himself laughing at their jokes and enjoying the lively atmosphere. Eric made sure he felt included, offering him a seat by the fire pit and a plate full of food. By the end of the night, Mr. Jones felt happy and relaxed. He realized that Eric wasn't just a noisy neighbor. He was a kind young man with good intentions. Over time, Mr. Jones and Eric became friends. They started helping each other with small tasks. Eric helped Mr. Jones carry heavy groceries, and Mr. Jones shared fresh vegetables from his garden. On weekends, they often chatted over the fence, discussing everything from the weather to their favorite books. The neighborhood felt even warmer than before, as their friendship set an example for others. Mr. Jones learned an important lesson. He realized that talking calmly and finding a solution could solve many problems. Eric also learned something valuable. He understood the importance of respecting others and being a good neighbor. Mr. Jones often told the story to his grandchildren. "Remember," he would say, "if you have a problem with someone, talk to them. Don't fight. Don't shout. Just talk. You'll be surprised how far kindness and communication can go." The grandchildren would nod and smile. They knew Grandpa's advice was true. After all, his quiet neighborhood was proof of it. Conflicts can be resolved peacefully through communication and understanding. A little kindness and respect can turn problems into friendships.
Thank you so much for watching today's story. We hope you enjoyed practicing your English with us. Remember, every day is a chance to improve your skills. Keep listening to English stories and learning life lessons. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell so you never miss a new story. We can't wait to see you in the next video. Keep learning, stay positive, and see you soon.